Spike do. Hook you up with a bad bitch that'll slice you. Gourmet chefs that'll poison spice you. Gotta play dirty cause these boys will ice you. Yeah, I listen to niggas CDs, get my smirk on, then tell myself it's nothing I gotta work on. Keep my name up in the chapters, put my jersey up in the rafters, cause nothing is after. I got all these niggas discussing the master, but I'm just chillin' though, puffin' the master.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today I came across this product. Well, the other day I came across it, and today I've seen it again on the medical cannabis menu, and I genuinely had to stop and look at it twice. It's called Fant TC T55 Tri Crumble, and it's a solventless flower extract. It's made using an ice water sieve process, then air dried and cold pressed into this crumble type extract. It's 55% THC, and it's currently £80 for 2 grams. Now, I'm not going to lie, when I first saw that, I thought, oh, this could actually be interesting. Because obviously 55% THC is a serious concentration compared with the flower. Even their highest flowers are sometimes not all that. So it caught my attention, and the terpene profile is interesting as well. It's listed as having myrcene, beta-carotene and alpha-pinene. So from a terpene perspective, it's certainly something I'd be curious to try. I was actually thinking, you know what, maybe I'll take a chance on one packet and see what it's like. But then I had another thought, and this is where the mathematics get absolutely ridiculous. Because I have a 150 gram monthly allowance, and that's 15 10-gram tubs. And, you know, that's sometimes I don't even feel that it's enough. So I thought, what would actually happen if I tried to replace that entire amount with this extract? And this is where we have to be careful about what we're comparing. I'm not saying 1 gram of extract is literally equivalent to 1 gram of flower in terms of the experience. I'm talking about nominal THC concentration. So let's take a hypothetical flower at around 30% THC. 150 grams of 30% flower contains approximately 45 grams of THC, theoretically. But now take this extract at 55%. To get approximately 45 grams of nominal THC from a 55% extract, you would need about 82 grams of the extract. And this is where it gets fucking crazy, because the product is £40 per gram. So 82 grams at £40 per gram comes at around £3,280. And that's just to get roughly the same nominal THC quantity as 150 grams of 30% flower. So not 150 grams of extract, just the amount required to contain approximately the same theoretical THC. But now let's do the really simple, stupid comparison. If I literally said, right, I have 150 gram allowance, I'm going to buy 150 grams of this stuff. At £40 a gram, that's £6,000, 6 grand for 150 grams. And I'm sorry, but at that point, I'm looking at the screen thinking, what the fuck am I doing? Because this isn't even a question of whether the extract is good. It might be absolutely fantastic. It might be one of the nicest extracts I've ever tried. The extraction process might be brilliant. The consistency might be fantastic. The terpene preservation might be excellent. But 6 grand for 150 grams. It's crazy when I'm used to, you know, buying 4.5 or tuna Q or outside, you know, way before this, or buying, you know, King Hassan, tiny, the smallest micron hash you can imagine, ounces of that for 300, you know, I mean, not at that retail price. And that's where I started thinking about the wider market. Because if I'm comparing this purely as a medical product, there are legitimate reasons why something like this costs more. You've got the extraction, as I said, that process. You've got the lab testing, the regulated, you know, medical production, the whole packaging of it, the pharmacy and the prescription system, and you're getting a highly concentrated product rather than ordinary flower. So I do understand why it's more expensive per gram. That's not the problem. The problem is when you start asking, okay, but what does this actually cost me if I wanted to use it as a substantial part of my monthly supply? And suddenly the economics become absolutely insane. For comparison, you can find very high quality traditional hash, as I said, at dramatically lower prices per gram in the wider market. You know, for example, you've got things like Morocco hash or King Hassan, as I said, style hash, where people can be talking about £300 for an O, depending on the product and the source. And yeah, that's still expensive for me, but £300, you know, for an O isn't cheap. But an ounce is approximately 28 grams. So you're talking roughly 10 or 11 pounds per gram. Compare that with 40 pounds per gram for the T55 extract. That's roughly 4 times the price per gram. And obviously the T55 is much more concentrated, so you can't just say £40 is 4 times £10, therefore it's 4 times more expensive. You have to account for potency. And even after doing that comparison though, you're still looking at a very expensive way of obtaining THC. And that's the thing that really caught my attention. Now I want to make something clear here. I'm not saying this product is shit, I haven't even bought it. Quite the opposite, I'm actually interested in it. But that's why I might take a chance on 1-2 gram packet, to let you know. And also I want to know, what is the consistency like? How does the crumble actually behave? How are the terpenes? How does it compare with flour? How long does 2 grams actually last when you're using tiny amounts? And is the experience sufficiently different or useful enough to justify that premium? Because that's the experiment I'm interested in. But what I'm not interested in is doing is buying 80 grams or 100 grams or 150 grams at retail. That's where I would have to speak to the pharmacy and ask, is there some sort of larger quantity pricing available? Because if someone is genuinely using a substantial amount of medical cannabis every month, surely the economics have to be looked at differently. Maybe they don't offer that. Maybe the price is simply the price. But I beg to differ. Speaking and paying more always opens doors for you. And if that's the case and the price is simply the price, then I'm out. Because I'm not spending 3,000, 4,000 or 6,000 just to recreate the amount of cannabis I'm already permitted to receive. And that's actually the fascinating thing about this product. The 55% THC figure initially makes it look incredibly efficient. And technically it is very concentrated. But concentration doesn't automatically equal value for money. You still got to look at price per gram, price per milligram of nominal THC, how much you actually use, and how long the package lasts you. That's the real calculation. So I'm probably going to try 1-2 gram packet and I'll see what it's actually like. I'll see whether it's something genuinely special. And if I come back and say, this stuff is fucking incredible, 2 gram lasts me ages and it's completely transformed how I use my medication, then that's different. And that packet may last a long time and actually be worth the money. Then maybe we'll have a different conversation. But if I come back and say it's nice, but I've burned through the 2 grams in 1 or 2 days and I'm looking at another 80 quid, then I'm probably going to be saying, yeah, that's not sustainable. That's nonsense. So that's my little experiment. Fant TC T55 Tri Crumble, 55% THC, £80 for 2 grams. Potentially fascinating product, potentially ridiculous product, potentially ridiculous economics. But I'm going to find out which one it is. Because I'm not paying 6 fucking grand for 150 grams. Not when I can get a huge amount of exceptionally good hash for a fraction of that. Let's see what this little £80 experiment tells us. Peace out, till next time.